tugulawo wano programu yaffe nga tusanyuka tugulawo tusanyuka obwolo ni bubi obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi obwolo nimbwa obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi 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 obwolo nimbwa obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi 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 obwolo nimbwa
kati kino kiki
wayingire ewaffe eno tekubwa musana tekubwa nkuba obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi 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 obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi
birungi kati walabenga kino kirabo kyokundi gwoli mu bwolo
oli
mu sente zo
va mu bwolo obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi omunyankole tayagala bwolo abalunzi bwente tewagala bwolo obwolo nimbwa obwolo nimbwa obwolo nimbwa obwolo nimbwa
mbadde manyi oleesa oli nedda
kati oyingidde mu famire obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi nimbwa obwolo ni bubi obwolo nimbwa
jatukolera abantu olabuse nange leero oleeso naye bakuleeta oli nedda
obwolo nimbwa obwolo ni bubi
webale
mwagala kunti nze nna stamina komando nze nna stamina eyo dance ogizina kusitamu n'amala obwolo ne bakoma bajooga kuva nino kubanyalako nakujja wano ne bakutwala wano ne bakanyuga eri nasanga ekidoli kye nakiniyamu mugani kasoteeka sente wakati baddamu kujooga mbadde mulwadde naye nakubidde mikwano gyange essimu era ne banzija mu ddwaliro obwolo ne bubi obwolo nimbwa obwolo omunyankole atya obwolo fe abalunzi bente twagala bwolo twagalira ddala bwolo obwolo bukujoogesa obwolo bujooga n'abaganda batya obwolo babutya
empologoma
obwavu bwe bwolo kati oyingidde oyagala kakwaiti oyagala kaki kati ako tekakubwa nkuba naye mukozi yali ampaddeyo yadde bino byofitiizi tulina gwe tukubadduke tulina gwe tukuba twereega mwadduke ayagala okukivumba kintu kyaffe ekintu kiriko nanyini kyo tebayinza kimujjako kakati twagala bwe tuba tusoma marketing tukola bwe tuti raise the project market with a bang kati nabo batambule omanye nina kati zino ziri 12 waliwo gye natambuddemu mu kibuga ng'entuulu zivuga kati ne mujja waffe naye ateekeyo tulaba ayita mu kibuga batamukuba mayinja ejjoogero lyazaania ku bantu naatujooga naatunyalako mmwe oyinza okudde omwana wewaka n'omutabaala eryo lyali ddogo nabaloga. They are under the possession of witchcraft. Tukita mindi ya kemisango. Nabaloga
family ya Museveni.
Naloga ya neregamu. Alike mindi ya kemisango. Ntigwe of all people olumbo mwana wewaka. Then you were mad. Mukozi takubwa. Kirazira. Mu Uganda kirazira kukuba jeno mukozi. Kirazira mu Uganda kirazira bahungu basha kirazira mu Buganda okuba afende mukozi kirazira okuba jeno mukozi kirazira kasomu kubuto bantu timu yabwerewa kati yakala njogere kuki tumaze okuzina twasokeranga mu UPE ku somero naye ate ng'ogigyeko mangu
enkofiira
naye omanyi sente zigikola n'enkuba ne bwetonya togijjaako si y'abacyayina zisikola mu bacyayina ebyange byonna biri tik European zikola mu bacyayina naye ng'ogigyeko oba tuli wewaffe yongera essuuti eno nakugambye omanyi sente nga tolina kakadde eno dduka esuuti nga tolina kakadde bwogiraba dduka oba tolina kakadde ka ssente bwogiraba dduka tulaizinze ebbango tuliwanise bwe tuba tukola marketing tukola you come in with a bang okimanyi mu mass communication bw'obanga oyagala abazungu kye bakola America ng'egenda okuba Iraq esooka neereeta air force neryoka econtrollinga air superiority kakati twagala na bano bajja baffe nabo bazireeteyo olaba ayambala essuuti eno eyakakadde yeri chipu ziza bukadde busatu afe tulaizinze kakadde eno yakakadde nesuuti yakakadde ne gwe tutwala munene sebo tutwala munene gwe tutwala munene suuti yakakadde akayina nga azireeta kakadde baga ziri luddawa gwozibuuze aganaalya n'agataliiko gonna abaganda bagamba mbu aganaalya n'agataliiko gonna gabeera ku nte gajja ne gasama ku kisambi ky'ente nga bakitunda nga basala ennyama gwe toyina nakyo olya gwe ogambe nti ogule suuti mbu jimpe ngikuwa nti anze mukozi ya jimpa naawe gwe omusajja agamba America bwe yali president wa America yaga nti if you want to ask what America has given you what have you invested in America bayo tugireizinze newali wonna asanyuka nti muganda wange anteereddemu batugireizinze nammwe ezammwe yes taliiwo wano ayino ate olaba n'Abamerika babakubirayo naki yes first let me tell you mbadde serikoodirize yinzire munzinemu let me tell you yisu kijo raising kati je tuba tuogerako ng'abasajja bakulu ng'aba intellectuals Somalia you don't know Somalia if you want to know Somalia look at down the road Somalia kuba ke Ethiopia mu witches eri etuse mu Addis Ababa Somalia kyoyogerako yakuba Ethiopia mu witches yali ejingidde what the Russians did baleeta tanka nga bazijja mu Indian Ocean ku mmeeri helicopter nesula tanka bweti the Somalis ne batya that's why Ethiopia yagenda mu Soviet Union that's one two in the 70s Somalia was an African superpower when Amin toppled Obote the Somalian government offered the troops to dislodge Obote from power. They were restrained by Ben Chiwanuka and Museveni, but they had assembled an army to remove Amin in 71. That is Somalia we are talking about.
So we have a long history with Somalia.
Somalia, when Amin annexed Kagera, he went to Saidi Bari. Saidi Bari, we had a lot of bilateral relations with Somalia. Somalia, Omunyo, Bishibia Nangabia, Somalia. Somalia was an African superpower. Somalia, Saidi Bari told Amin, go good dekati. Why? Wali Gambi, they puzzled them. Wali Gambi, they puzzled the attack. But to annex Kagera, you've gone. Amin got the verdict from Saidi Bari. Because Saidi Bari was mediating between Tanzania and Uganda. And Saidi Bari told Amin, your days are numbered. No African country will accept to change the borders. Duka. Yes. The moment, no wow. The moment Idi Amin attacked Tanzania and annexed Kagera, This is when he left. Abaganda bakite kiwalazima. Kati botandise ku kiwalazima. The moment these people attacked Muhoozi, their days are numbered. Because Muhoozi cannot accept to go into exile. If Muhoozi can accept to be humiliated in his father's government, what about his future? Indigito jumanyi waliwo basi gye bayita endigito kasogisanga mu kkoona oba owette balumba endigito ekyokulyo nabakubye naali bajjamu. That they were under the influence of witchcraft. There are things I cannot do. There are people I don't attack. Nagamba omuntu, have you ever seen me attacking Chigongo?
By the way,
have you ever seen me attacking Chigongo? Yes. The moment I attack a Chigongo, I will be digging my own grave. Chigongo is not in the habit of attacking people. Attack an innocent man. Bali abavume yono Chigongo tavumwa kuba talumbwa ye tayina lutalo. You attack an innocent man and she. Me cannot attack a Chigongo. Nibo bayina kyakoze abumba manyi ninamu no-go areas. No, I cannot attack the first lady. Not at all. I cannot attack the first lady. No, manyi. Teri akusonyiwa akoze eki. Gogenda ovuma abantu. Yamukoze eki. That's why when Mbabazi attacked the first lady yagwa. Ye politician, I can disagree with Museveni. Si John Tunde sijagenda yo. Era President Museveni bwe twatula mu meeting yangamba nti obukolwa bukulidde. Museveni yangamba obukolwa mbumanyi konze ye. Mu Luganda mbuyita butya konze obukolwa oba obutulumye muyi bukola bwe buti mbwabaagano wabanda biddeko mbubunoonya bakazi. Ffe mu Baganda bwe tugamba bukola bwe buti buyimira bwe buti. Olunaku lumu twali baana bato. Obukolwa obwo ne buyingira mu kiswa. Ne tuteekamu kaamulali. Bwatuleeta emisinde. Obukolwa obwo obulaba bwe butta omusota ne pieces ne bulaba nga bugulekawo. Pieces buzigalekawo. Museveni yangamba obukolwa obumanyi konze obukolwa mbumanyi mubuyita butya mu Baganda konze butulumi naye omanyi nti bwe bwezinga ku musota omunene bugumala bunti yessebo kati obukolwa obukolwa nembusesemya omusota myaka 10 ate bwandyaki singa njogera teri lya ku dozi ya musota atakubiddwa emyaka 10 kakati nkubuli Museveni nsobola okukola ki nsobola omulumba. Muzeyi is a politician. Muzeyi is very yakubwa. You see, in democracies, you can attack the president. A leader is attacked. Naye, an innocent person. Munya pawe chebagulanga. Munya agwerira munyale. A Muganda tells you never kill a lizard. A lizard is not poisonous. In fact, in the pursuance of a lizard, you end up burning your house. Kati olina okubeeranga mu n'abantu b'omanya nti ezo lizards talumbwa. When you attack her or him,
so mu government ya Museveni omanyi mu Kigongo na first lady abo tebalumbwa.
They are innocent people. Olumba waaki akoze eki?
Lwaki kwabo togattako kabaka?
Kabaka tewali yalaba kabaka before me. Let me tell you, teri yalaba kabaka before me. Teri yalaba kabaka before me. I've seen letters from the Kabaka. Let him deny it. Kabaka bwe yajja wano twamukima Busia. And as he arrived, the president was meeting the Bataka the following day. Baali tebamanyi nti ayingiddewo. When the Kabaka arrived, teyalina waakusula. Kabaka government yali temuwadde woteri yali temuwadde ki. We maneuvered on our own. No Mulangira wa Lugembe Juko, who was later found out to be a fake. Well, Captain wa Lugembe Juko yali munsiko nga yeyita mwana wa Muteesa Kasabanda. We moved Mutebi from Busia. He had nowhere to sleep. We took him to Kasabanda's place. And the following day, we constructed a temporary Gundi or Lubiri for him.
Where?
The first person Mutebiso, a prominent person, was me.
Were you prominent then?
Yes.
I know, but
Yes. Bali badusi. Ngani mayanja ankanyi nani tebamanyi wekigwira. Kakati bagenda oyo omulangira Kasabanda. Batandika empiira gy'ebika. Sajja bamuyitanga Sali. Nabba ssente n'abula. Empiira gy'ebika gyalimu ssente ne bagibbiramu. Kati Kasabanda yazanyiranga mu kika ky'abalangira. Naga nti mwabbye ssente abalangira mwababbye. Nga baagala bayiseewo olugave n'emmamba. Why? Semakulandugwa yali walugave ng'aga nti walugave naye nga buzaale bwe tebumanyiddwa. Muganda we Luutu Katenda Luutu nga wammamba ng'ayagala ebika ebyo ebibiri always bye bababbiramu ssente. So when the Kabaka wanted to create to account for this money, ne balwanagana. Sali disappeared in the jinja teyalabikako mu meeting twamulinda teyajja. In fact, let me tell you, bwe nabanga ntudde ne Kabaka Mayiga n'omuvubuka bamuyita Ntegebe baatuleetanga soda. This Mayiga you were seeing.
What are you saying?
When the Kabaka was invited to go to Southern Sudan to highlight the plight of refugees, we went together.
You and the Kabaka?
Because helicopter yali tesobola kudda kiro eze gwe yalekawo. Era nalabye omusajja bamuyitaani Wamala Nuwa. I one time when I got credible information that the Kabaka was going to be assassinated to blame it on Museveni. I went to that Wamala man. Yali akulira security ya Kabaka. Netugenda ffenna. Nemukubira. Nemugamba of information you were going to be assassinated. The Kabaka told me, Mirundi, we shouldn't panic. Bayinza kubanga batukwanga bukanzi. What should we do? Kangende nkomewo mangu. What's this information? Yagenda yonavayo mangu. Mubuuzo yo.
That's why the Baganda feel you should never attack the Kabaka.
Era simwataki.
Claim to be friends.
Simwataki. I'm chasing away. I chase away. And kubuulira. I chase away these thieves. The opportunities bali luddawo.
The thieves bamugaso okusinga
kuki. And kuki. At one time when the Kabaka we had Abaganda bakola meeting a new work. Kabaka was invited. Yabuuza kofe babiri ne Kintu Musoke. The Kabaka knows the struggle we did with the Kintu Musoke. Amanyi n'awali yagundi. But bad money drives good man away. Anti kuchi. Ate yabawa one day went to the Kabaka. I went to the Kabaka and I told him Museveni agambye atya. Museveni agambye there was a rule in the CA that even those who don't know English can come and submit their submission in Uganda and they will have translators. Mugere mukisome. I went to the Kabaka and informed him, this is a trick. Have you agreed with Museveni nti wono simba abantu bitajja kusimbawo? Omanyi nti akalu kali mu ssente oziina. If all our people betusimbyewo, there was an interesting constituency. Waliwo omuvuka nga bamuyita Gundi, Muhammad Mayanja. Yawulira nti balonze Muhammad Mayanja, n'alowooza nti yeye, kozi Muhammad Mayanja we Paris. Bagende waka kungulu, Muhammad Mayanja ne omukyala musiraamu waliwo ne Muhammad Kateregga omukulu w'ekika ky'empologoma. Kakungulu n'abayita, 3 of them. N'abaga nti you people. Mwenna basatu mwesimbyewo ne Serunjogi. Serunjogi n'agamba Kakungulu, nze bulijjo abaddipi bange abakafiiri be bannonda ndamwaswa of Victory. Oyo Muhammad Mayanja n'agamba nti nze abavuka bagenda kunnonda. Namugozi Kateregga n'amugamba nti twakiziganya ne Museveni ffe abataka ffe tugenda mu CA. Oyo Kakungulu naye mugezi nnyo. Kakungulu oyo genda omubuuza, how many times did we sit and discuss serious issues? Oyo Kakungulu w'ekibuli. Me am highly intelligent, but once bad money comes I run away. Ne Museveni yanfiirwa. We highly intelligent man. Kakati
highly intelligent here.
Kakungulu n'abagamba twesiimye nnyo batuleetere kaakaawa tunywe. Gwe tugenda kuyita mu constituency mu abasiraamu apa. Gwe Muhammad Mayanja ogenda kuyitamu. Namugozi Kateregga agenda kuyitamu, omukyala agenda kuyitamu, Serunjogi agenda kuyitamu. Who beat them? they were defeated by a man called Ziwa. Ziwa bwe yagenda mu CA yagamba yayogerayo ekigambo eki ti kapusoni z'omu Kampala baziteekamu obuwunga bwa muwogo mu Constituent Assembly. I served Uganda on many occasions. I told the Kabaka, the moment these people claim that they are sponsored by you and they are defeated by Museveni, Museveni will have an upper hand and ask you, if this issue of federalism is popular, how come that your people have failed? Okiriziganyiriza naye tiwana simba gwe tojja kusimbawo. When the Kabaka was going to London, he said, Abaganda mwena mulonde gwe mwagala. They didn't know that I was behind it.
A short break, then we return with Tamale Mirundi.
Tulisobola kunzanyisa nze sigulibwa sijogebwa tuyinza kunniyomu noniyomu.
Enoni Baba TV obusoga bulayire. Olina kasente ko oyagala kulattako ofuneko obwesimira.
Afro Studio. I have two things about Afro Studio. When NRA was going to enter Kampala, bampereza abaana 10 bakadogo nembafuniye ebifaananyi photos okubeera mu Kampala as students. Niti bansasudde Museveni yansasula mu Nagisi College omukayi n'okunja oganga ajo Uganda. Kakati bwetu anti Nagisi College mu dola teriimu muzira Uganda. Museveni yansasula mu Nagisi College. Bali balowooza mbu bwankanyuka kujirikiti nsobola okugendayo. Yes, Nagisi College. They sought by humiliating me, humiliate him, humble him, throw him on Kasasiro. Me, to go on Kasasiro. With this background. So, Sabasajja twamugjawo temutwale Komamboga. Musajja oyo alina Afro Studio was the best. Yali ku Kampala Road. Kakati n'afiira mu accident. Yaliwo express. It was urged. Ti Kabaka bw'ajja mu nnyumba yo ng'ogivaamu. And it was only done by Ssemakula Ndugwa. Kabaka yakyali wa Ssemakula Ndugwa. Kyasangamu kyonna agenda nakyo. Ndugwa yali ayagala bwa prime minister naye nga kitaawe Kaseppewo omuziba. Ndugwa Ssemakula mukulu w'ekika ky'Olugave yaleeta omugga bo. Ssemakula kitaawe Kaseppewo yali musajja muziba. Yatasobola kufuuka kika kya Lugave. Era akasajja kaamugamba nti ngenda kuloga bizinensi yo ngabo nisita n'ebikuba. Ngenda kujjako obugagga Ssemakula mwavu. Bwakatikiro teyabufuna. Kabaka yali amanyi kitaawe wa Ssemakula muziba Kaseppewo. Atasobola kufuuka ekika ky'Olugave okimanya amaanyi gaakyo be batereka mu jaguzo. Kakati
Kabaka bwayingira mu nnyumba yo.
Yes. N'omukazi amutwala. Everything agenda nakyo. It was only done by Ssemakula Ndugwa. Nenga Ndugwa tamanyi te Kabaka amuyinako sita. Ndugwa Ssemakula kitaawe yali mu Tanzania. Kaseppewo yagulanga bintu by'abantu nga si Muganda. Te Kabaka nniyo. Kati yakola nnyo Ndugwa Ssemakula okufuuka Katikkiro kyamulema. Twali tumumanyi. Kitaawe Kaseppewo yali musajja muziba. Ne Ssemwogere musajja muziba Paulo amusedi maama we Nyamwendero oli Abaganda taata we Kapere. Omanyi we had vassal states. Abaziba Abakerewe bo balogo batyayo. The only Muganda who has ever been in that area ne banyaniza bulungi nnyo Abakerewe. Ojiraba Ukerewe Island kuleke mu mabu ya Uganda. Osanga abasajja ako Ukerewe nga batudde ku nnyanja bayisa omweso. Osanga abaana Abakerewe nga baavula ku nnyanja. Bayina eddogo erikubye bano by'abajonzi bano bagwa mu mutwe. I'm the only person who has ever been to Ukerewe. And the Bakerewe baajagala nnyo.
Bagenda kuloga banno bano. Anti ogenti bakubye emyaka 10.
Gundi bw'afa oyo omusajja. Afro Studio ne batubuulira Kabaka made a mistake yalirazeewa Komamboga nga bakyabagendayo. Yagenda wa mukoddomi we n'asula mu nnyumba y'emu. Kati Abaganda ne bajowenga nti olw'okuba yasula mu nnyumba y'emu ne mukoddomi we naani yayina givaamu mukoddomi we kufa. Kabaka ne tumugjayo ne tumutwala ewa jjajjaawe. Hebanda. Where was Mayaga? Where were these idiots? Where were these opportunists? This is a story nobody can deny.
That was your time.
At one time, the Kabaka called me through Reverend Kajumba. Yali akulira olukiiko lwa Buganda, secretary. Yampita wange nga n'akayumba ka mwavu. Ti Ssaabasajja Kabaka akuyita. Omanyi Ssaabasajja Kabaka bw'aba akuyita, abubaka abukuleetedde afukamira. You need to deliver the Kabaka's message you have to kneel before.
Before the Kabaka or before anybody you are delivering the message to?
Waleese obukubaka bwa Kabaka afukamirira gwabutwalidde. Kajumba knelt before me. Nanga nti omutanda akuyita. Is me him we knew omugezi. Nangamba nti mu masiro baziise atali qualified. Baziise omuntu atali mulangira mutuufu kuziika Kasubi. Nemugaa nti what are you going to do? Ogenda kwekuzuminga body? Kati ekyo kireke. Let us put up rules. Who is buried at Katunganga Machi? Egundi. Yatunganga magundi zino. Ate mukyakya basijja ke.
Sole ya Buganda nti bigenda maaso mu ggwanga.
Kaakati nkubuulidde. Omukyalo oyo ndagire mu Mbejja yagula gomesize n'atambula ne Kabaka. Nga ye mwennyina gwatambula naye. Mu bwavu. Bagera kaakati bafunye mbu bamugjawo. Kyobulaba yali resistinga. Ndagire yali resistinga. Why? She invested. Yatunganga suuka. And some of her children are imbeciles. Naye investinga mu ssente ze Ndagire bwe twatambulanga. Emulangi yo mu Mbejja kwe tumanyi nga beekokomye agali ba ssente ba Mayiga. Can Mayiga fight a battle over me? Can Mayiga fight a battle over me? Timayiga mpangula. Tibano bandaze kulya bampangula. Nze ekyajabukanya nabo kyali kimu. Baalimba Kabaka basse baana. Ne bakola teefe banka ne bagibba.
Teefe.
Nga bataddemu n'enkuluze. Enkuluze ya Kabaka. Buli Muganda ateekemu ssente. Assets zonna baazibba. Kasannalaba obubbi emmengo. Mu mupiira gy'ebika ne mu nkuluze n'eziruka babbi ba Mayiga. Mayiga cannot fight me in Buganda. Ayina records ziri luddawo. When did we see Mayiga?
But are you aware that Abaganda bonga bakwesonyiwa
tebakwagala? I'm very popular. Nkubuulire bwe gundi yantutte ono kojja Kimbo akola akatuusa eddagala ly'akatuusa. Mu Abasoga mugamba Amayido. Amayido gaggwawo.
Amayido gakola nnyo.
Kati gw'olina abakazi bameka? Oba Amayido gakola? Amayido gali malala. Gali Amayido gali malala. Kati gw'olina ate ffe kankubulire olina abakazi bameka? Ffe Abaganda batugamba nti kasobeera n'omukazi ogwo Sseggwanga ewuwe ekusekerera mu makaago. Anti Sseggwanga y'enkoko eyingira essaawa 10 nekusanga ng'otudde ku lubalaza ne kakaziko kamu. Ho laba ono omusiru nsula mu nnyumba y'ennina bana yayina kamu. Sseggwanga ekusekerera. Era ffe mu Baganda tukugamba ti w'abakazi ababiri ye Ssaabaddu w'Abawuulu n'ababiri tebamala. N'abakazi ababiri nabo si togamba mu basajja banno nti ndi w'amaanyi ti oyina bameka nti babiri tetukuwa gwe tonya ku mwenge gwaffe balina kuba bana. Ffe abakazi bana twabafuna mu Buganda culture. Abatusanga nabo. Ekyaleme Kabejja Muwanika Nassaza ne Kaddulubaale baba bana. Omusajja Omuganda omugagga nga nze alina okuba n'abakazi bana.
Kati obuzaayo bameka?
Tebaliiwo. Ompitanga gwe omwavu omwolo. Obwolo ni bubi, obwolo ni mbwa. Kakati, I'm telling you, when it comes to Buganda, nobody can defeat me.
That's very good history, and I think
nobody can defeat me. Nasusa amenvu ino kunywa omwenge. Have you ever seen the Kabaka attacking me?
Does he have time for you?
Yes, he knows me. He knows me. Unaku yansanga nangamba. Mirundi, ngato kyajja mu lubiri ne muganda nafumbirwa. I have to seek clearance from the president. If there is anybody who knows, Museveni was misled. Museveni yamanya potential yange. Namukolera obufonzi kofiira namukolera omukono ali okaniriga mu bwayagala bwa president ng'obujjawo. Hey, I can.
Yeah, do it.
Do I have any problem with the Kabaka?
No,
my anti bonna kakati nze atanjagala nnyo lwaki nti Betekame abamugamba Betekame yagenda ennamirembe n'alyoka agamba sebo president ng'omukazi eyajja wa Yesu n'akwata ku munagiro gwe nange nzize nkukwatako lete where is federal yadduka kati alyo Betekame alya namboze bwe yali ajja mu first term yajja n'embwenji zayiga federal butasoma federal ngebeera luddawo. Where do you have federalism? Federal, whoever talks about federalism is an idiot.
I'm a federalist myself.
Auntie, how?
I believe in federalism.
Yes, you can believe in it, but what are the practicability of a federal arrangement? Federalism occurs where the country is big. You tell me any other country in Europe, apart from the Federal Republic of Germany, which is federalistic. Is UK federalistic? No. United Kingdom. You give me France, its neighbor, is not federalistic, which means the Germany graduated from 190 states, united by the Yankees. To have federalism, a country must be a huge country like Sudan, Yabalema. Nigeria is quasi-federal. The Nigerians admire the American system. The federal government in Washington, the federal government in Abuja. But why do you fight over resources? When you have federal, you share resources. It's stupidity. You can share resources in any arrangement. Has Saudi Arabia an oil? Because it trouble in Saudi Arabia. Do they have a federalistic state? Kati Betekame n'ababba, oyo n'ababba. They use whoever mentions the federal in Uganda.
I actually signed Betekame's petition for federalism.
Auntie, let me tell you.
Federalist, I believe in it.
Tell me any Muganda who has gone to parliament and raised a motion, a private member's motion on federal. Who?
They don't do it.
You know you mwana omulenzi.
Bana.
Ng'akufaanana mundeetera akulire ewange afune amagezi. Omwana mumpe akulire ewange afune amagezi. Let me tell you, in Uganda you cannot have federal. Why? Federalism is not a political system. It is a form of governance. Abasajja bano baali bagezi nnyo Betekame bali basente naye wanudde abantu bajja bategeera kuki akola ki akwatako yajja ewange n'afukamira ne mubuulira amagezi ndigenda okole bwoti ne bwoti esimu yange n'agijjako ayirinotidikireyo sirina byabugagga byenteekayo njagala abijjawo njagala omulimu bagunzijeko amuprovoking them gukola ki
You never declared your
welfare. Under the law. Kati abaserikale bange bagenze ku head counting tebaleeseewo omulala. It's the interest of the state to protect brainy people like me. The country loses when I'm assassinated.
But the state will hate you. Ozanyira ku Betekame
because as of today. Nti mu Uganda anybody who talks about the federal is a fool. Why? Federalism.
But I told you I believe in federalism.
And I'm telling you.
And you're saying nobody who talks about it is a fool.
Omusiyazi asubirayo okuzaala.
That's all.
Yes. However much many Catholics would like to go to Rome to see the Pope mu St. Peter's. Basobola.
No.
N'abasiraamu bakuga nti hijje kakota kwayina. You must understand realism. I'm a realist. And I'm knowledgeable. Katika nkubuulize. Mu political system ya Uganda mulimu system zezi ozimanyizo
zimbuulire
muwanga tomanyi system za Uganda eziri mu constitution zo objectives ozimanyi
mulimu objectives of state policy natural objectives of state policy
kakati we have two political systems in the constitution, a multi-party system, a movement system, any other democratic.
Any other kind?
Amaje baagagaana It was intended for the army. Any other democratic amagye tegaliimu. Basiba amagye ga Uganda.
So multi-party bwegaana ne movement system negaana.
Any other
yeruwe ya
anti kyekyo.
Unpacking. So ekyama gy'okuwamba government
bakigaana. Era bakugamba constitution ya Uganda yagamba ti omuntu yenna alijjawo constitution eno ng'akozesa ekifuba abaligenda mu nsiko ne bamulwanyisa ne bamuwangula balisasula through national coffers. But the problem is the military comes in nga abantu bamaze obbakyawo endulu ne zivuga nibali kuba koto abajoze nsinga abadduka abajoze buli wamu. Military comes uganda otya andi nkubuulidde ejjaddi prevent the military but don't outlaw it niki. But our soldiers are educated, highly educated. Bategedde bagibasuuza.
I've now realized that any other
kakati nkubuulira nti federal teriimu mu political systems. So anybody who goes to parliament,
it is a form of local governance.
It is a form of local government.
Yes,
a president like Bobby Wine can tell you, if I win the presidency, I will govern according to federalism. Chiri mu manifesto. Chiri mu political system. Because federal is not a political system. Federal is a form of governance where it is applicable. Byebimu ala DC ne DC.
Bob Wine and no have not promised federal.
Anti kyenkubuulira abazungu bababuulira ensi entono nga Uganda. A person who has driven from Mutukula, you have vehicles. From Mutukula has entered Kampala. Waliwo ka mirundi akakeera ku makya ne ka mirundi akisaaweemu. Banjavuwazizza nnyo naye empologoma bwesiringi nga teyenkana pusi. Era emmotoka zange zikyalimu bakuba kundeeridde baali balooza nange ndi mwana. Obwalo ni bubi, obwalo nimbwa, obwalo ni bubi, obwalo nimbwa, obwalo ni bubi, obwalo nimbwa. Kakati nkubuulidde ekitegedde nti nkubuulidde federalism, whoever talks about federalism is an idiot. A small country cannot have federal. There is only one country in some form of federalism, United Emirates. Nti kabaka yaddira amasaza ng'ag'e Busoga. Emirates efugibwa nga Busoga. Okimanyi ekyo? If you want to understand Busoga, you study Emirates. Emirates efugibwa nga Busoga.
United Arab Emirates.
Yes, efugibwa nga Busoga. Nti kabaka yaddira amasaza ge n'agagabira abaana be. Lekeni Busoga. Nti ojja kusanga nti president wa Syria ate ono owe Dubai ate ye mumyuka. There is ekibwetiri ni Busoga in the making. Those are characteristics. When you look at this young man in Busoga, okutunda ettaka ly'ekkanisa n'agula balidas nono omusajja w'egendi bwe yabadda Kenya yaseba meka kibwetere yataba meka mumanyi kibwetere omanyi nti oyo Mwerinde yali musista. Do you know that Sekapulali yalina ekibwetere bazaalibwa n'egundi former chief justice Katulebe, their brothers. Kasepulali was going to become the bishop naye nga ava muki mu banyayigulu. Abanyayigulu tebasobola kulya buyinza mu Wankole. Era Museveni bwe yalonda Katulebe baaseka n'okuseka. Omunyayigulu Muganda Katulebe Magunda. Paka Museveni yalonda abantu ne Katulebe naye asobola okufuka chief justice, asobola okufuka chief justice.
Boba mulabira mwere.
Yes, kakati Kasepulali Kereziya yamumma. He was going to yali agenda okulya obwakibisopo obwambalala nga siba kyenga yagenda okulya bwe babumma n'agweddalo. Kasepulali is a younger brother or elder brother of Katulebe eyayokya abantu. Mwerinde was a nun ne bamugoba. Kati amusinga ekibwetere ne Busoga. Ekibwetere kyasobola to compromise everybody.
The state has been made aware. Babaguzeguze but they know. Police is know everybody buli omwagulidwa they know.
A man who started these churches 200 churches.
2,000.
2,000. The money even donated money to construct a police station.
In Chani,
yes. Which was commissioned by the president.
By President Museveni, yes.
Is he the one now who cannot go to any church? Wagenda y'omusajja nga amukuba.
Talina wasabira.
Neshinga byaffe mukkirize mu byaffe. Ebyaffe tumukube ebigomwenda. Oyinza okukwata ku church yange. Church yange. N'abaana bange bagitya. Ekube ebigomwenda giyingiremu olabe. For waffe Katonda akolerawo owabiribiri tukubya abanene tubateeka ku ttaka biki ebintu byange babitya biri ebyaffe byo biveeko byo biri buluto anti era ffe tukubuulira fe omanyi bwe tukubuulira ffe ababiina tukugamba nti konyoomera asula mu nju kanyoomonyomo andikutta ndikwata mulala kanyoomonyo wonyoomera asula mu nju yo kanyoomonyo nze ndikutta ndikwata mulala ye lubaale takolerwako ebyaffe tebikolerwako gundi compromise nti oli mugagga nnyo wonyoomera asula mu nju kanyoomonyomo nze ndikutta ndikwata mulala binkuba nebisula eddalu nebiteekawo omulala biyinza nomujja mu famire kasoleeta obusirusiru nga tobiwulira bikuba nolaba omusajja nga nze nga bintadde binsudde eddalu era nze nabaga nti nga nagenze butabika nziyeyo abantu nembategeeza nti ono bamweyana yamubanja mumuleete anti bamweyana tolaba oyo gundi bisopo kiganda yayambala ekutiya yafuna obukadde 10 olunaku ekutiya yabamweyana tolaba emotoka eziriko jajjabbaamu kiganda amuyina kiganda yali musamize kiganda yayambala ekkanzu ekutiya yafuna obukadde 10 oyo bamweyana agabanga mulalo anti musambwa gunywa enjaga gunywa walagi gunywa kasasiro gubeera mu balalo yayambala mubuuze naye omanye sente zeyafuna olunaku miliyoni 10 ku akawunti yo oyo ye bamweyana tolaba emotoka eziriko kiganda yava mu ebyo kiganda abimanyi bulungi ate tugamba nti ekutiya egulikako yabukadde obwo ekutiya yabukadde obwo nenkofiire naye yabukadde obwo toga nti ebyo ebintu bigulikako byamwavu hayi eri ekutiya egula obukadde obwo olyokuufune wawe oyinvestinga okujjako mwenole mumwatwale obujozi bwokka ne bajooka ne baniya ne bakanyuga wali wakolera obwe atayinvestinze mu kintu akifunamu so kakati I tell you nti the president should help this old man, and if this man is not tamed, you are going to see Echibwetere in Jinja. Nedda kuba abantu emiggo. This young man yatunze ettaka limazeewo was never part. In fact, the old man showed me a photo of Museveni. The man introducing this man. Tamuyina ko Luganda, tamuyina ko Luki. Kadise ettaka lyetunze. How can it
is Joshua who introduced Daudi to Museveni. Daudi. How come that you can prevent this old man, even to conduct it to access his church? Nali okali sente n'agaba sente simaye ne kanisa agitunze nze sibirimu ebyo. I saw the old man yandeetera ekyemisana nga bwafumidde omugenyi omukulu saalya. I was bleeding with anger. Nyinza okukwata Daudi ne muttirawo era nze temumpanga buyinza nti president, you know the thing I can do, I can be a good member of parliament. But leadership, I'm emotional. I can control myself. Museta usibatagera mbemvuddemu yatunduyanga ng'atunduye omusiro. If this man wants to access this 5 billion, he should go to New Vision. Me to go to New Vision Swera Amazi. He must go to media center. He must go to any kati omusango weeguli. This judge observed in his ruling that this bank First of all, it has no capital. The president directed nti buli asasula mu revenue asasulira muyo. Tebalina capital ababagakani. Bajja kutubba wano. 2, nti this judge ruled nti eyo banka terina operation license mu Uganda. Ekola illegally.
Yes.
Kiwanuka.
The principle has been.
Abaana bano kye bakoledde Museveni. Muyina ebintu bye mukola ebinene ne mubivaamu. Kiwanuka ndi Kalugire Company Advocates temuyinza kudda mu banka kulwanyisa hamu. Kalugire y'omu n'alumba hamu mu ttaka.
Mirundi.
Why don't you handle the Kalugire and the Company Advocates? Ne mulimba basebenzi mwe mukyayisizza nnyo famire ya Museveni. Ne famire ya Kaguta tebikola. Nedda. Bano abalezi be bakyayisizza Kaguta. Why do you involve in small things?
Mirundi. This is the question.
Mwali badde mu negotiating deals amafuta. Ne mu butono buno ne munyingiramu tikatugenda mu kooti eguddewo Kalugire and Company Advocates. Omusango gwa hamu n'emmengo Kalugire and Company Advocates mwagala kutwala kisaawe ebintu ebyo bibakoze bubi nnyo kyobola ba family ya Kaguta ensi ejagala twagala muhoozi naye abakooto balina akamiro buli wamu wonna concentrate on the big things. Leave these small issues to Gundi.
The big issue that you have to answer is that I hear people say, first, did the Ham take the money?
Yes. But when Ham took the money, Ham carried out an audit. Ngabamu badda. Chwanuka. Jejjawe yagenda atya. Chwanuka, you are haunted. Jejjawe yagenda atya. The issue is, the young man put money in that bank.
Yes.
Naleta internal auditors. Ngabamubba. Chwanuka navayo ne Kalugire. Naye mwe mubeere mu binene. Kalugire. Mufunye sente. Tata we yawandika nga butabu bwa history. Mukagawadde. Nze kambabulire. Nze singa tebannumba. Singa siyali mu taxi. Naka munyezi. Nalina mu n'ataano. I was one of the leading investors in transport. Nalingera kuteeka kutandika kuleta.
Yutoda namwe mwatubba. Yutoda ya baba. Namwe
nalingera kuteeka. Nti nze nteeka sigiri. Nina motoka ku stage y'ewazana. Nedda basajja mmwe mulidde bavuuka akamiro ke kabaleetedde obuzibu. Nedda mbasomesa. Nabba mu education. Nabba luddawa. Buli omu oli lukokobe. Mwe muli lukokobe mmwe. Mulekemu ebintu ebinene bw'ogaggawala leka ebinene ekwenda mu binene singa kakati mmwe nedda singa Kalugire n'Odrek balina kampuni ya nnyonyi singa tebakyadda mu bino bya kifere nedda mwonoonye nnyo famire ya Museveni bavubuka mmwe abaana ba Kaguta Amos Kaguta tebabba abaana bakoze gwe laba salari mu byobusiru salari omulabako mu byobusiru izi salari mentioned mu byobusiru bano batabani ba Kaguta bano abalala wadde tebabayambye nnyo bali mu byabusiru Kalugire kiwanuka mujja mwonoonye aiteriyo ati munankolaki mwonoonye ebintu nti kakati tugenda mu Kalugire and Company Advocates mukkiriza omusajja talina nti mumubbe nawandika akatabako nembaga mugenda kweyo nkubuulidde ate muti yakyo kugenda ebweru babasibye. And 2 issues. 1, the Americans and their campaigns. And every vote in America is important. 2, you are pioneers. Balina okubasibira ddala ejjoogo libaggwemu kisajja kyo kirigenda Makka na Madiina. Ne mu East Africa bagenda bakubamu. And you don't know abantu bano obujinga bwabwe obusiru bwabwe. Omanyi kye bakola? Kati gwe bwogenda mu hoteeri e Kenya baga oyo ajja kutawaanya abasajja. Tujjudde. Everybody is MCS. Kubanga bano abasajja bali mu kanisa ebalemeredde nono weekirivu naye agala sente za gundi. Where is obusiyazi?
Actually nalabye omubaka wa America mu Uganda yabadde ne Yoweri Kaguta Museveni president waffe. I've written to the American embassy. You? Yes. Thanking them for the tightening. None of these people should go to Europe. And I'm appealing to His Excellency President Biden. Tighten because it will become, if you don't know, this thing is going to become political. In the 6 months, you will see allegations of homosexuality against prominent people. People like me, I'm worried. Do you remember that Besigye was charged with rape?
Yes.
2 years after the alleged incident, can any, and the DPP was the chairman of this electoral commission. Shameless. The reason was, as other people were campaigning, basically was embarrassed and kept in courts of law.
All the time.
All the time.
They would drive to
So
Afghanistan.
if it was rape, today it would be homosexuality. We cannot allow this. Where are the alarming numbers of homos?
What kind of picture is
Then
that?
I ask, if you people, you have children, you have houses in America, you have houses in America, you have houses in Europe. If anybody who goes with a homo becomes an automatic homo, why do you go there? Muja bit later. Murachi mugendo you. Need to have America. Biden, Your Excellency President Biden, I salute you. The American ambassador here, I salute you. Tighten the belt. They should not go there. If going to mingling, only mingling with a homosexual, you become a homosexual. What you tell us? You have children in America, you have houses in America. Why do you fear travel bans? Because you have homes in America. Therefore, if those who go mingle with the homosexuals don't get this bite of homosexuality, why do you believe that when they come here, we become homosexual? They should die here. Don't allow these idiots. If you go to Europe for treatment, how do you know that a medical doctor who is treating you is a homo? The parliament should refocus its attention, as the president is saying. Who brings emotion? The excitement. We must popularize parliament like a Kadaga. Kadaga was not popularizing parliament. Kadaga was riding a tiger. You cannot use excitement to popularize parliament. You suffocate it, and you are going to suffer. Why? Because you don't have a hospital. Kakati no organic case here come. Me I dance in my sitting room. You will see it will be reflected in the number of deaths. Nabagamba nabakuba nemba jawo. Nga dokita bamuita dokita Namaganda yali Masaka nga bebakola bino sefika salama. The moment I exposed Namaganda and she left for Brazil, do you see people dying on Ugundi? In Jinja. It was done in Lugazi. People are dying in Meta's sugar canes. Are they dying there? By the time I came in and my daughter was killed for organ extraction, 18 women were dying every week. Are they dying? They will continue dying. You pass this bill, law. Museveni has enacted this. Bajja kuddamu babekso. Mujja kuddamu mufe. Abantu balumva amalwaliro bagoche.
It is embarrassing.
They'll ban your hospitals.
For Ugandan to thank Biden.
I'm thanking President Biden.
It is okay.
Abaganire ddala okulinnyo essejjo lino lirigenda Makka na Madina. Because you see, because some churches cannot manage their affairs, abasajja balina warrant ezisekanga bakakande nga tebabiriimu. Naye ono alemeddwa ekkanisa ye, n'ono alemeddwa okulwaninga obusiraamu. Because of our stance on homosexuality, the government should give us money. Nga bamugulidde church house, abatadde sente. Martyrdom has never been part of the Anglican Church. Your sent. Abali mu government baliya nabo.
What do you mean? We had the matters even.
Where?
No,
Martyrdom.
Yes.
Has ever been a part of.
Ate juse bagenda
Nti abatuukirivu abaki. Anti kubiri temwali nayo. Abalira mu government bagabana nabo abamaganduula. If we have failed to manage your church profitably, why is this agitation of homosexuality not in Western Uganda, where the church is run on prudence? Oyo Kazimba yatawanya. We should suffer because of one person who has failed to run. Because of our stance on homosexuality, the government should pay for bishops and what? If the government cannot pay for its workers, and what are the consequences of a state-controlled church? I salute the Barocco. The Barocco have stood to farm. Why? What is the role of a preacher? The role of a preacher would be to preach to this homosexual, to turn into a normal life. Kazim, no wishire fuchi. Soma akatabo kange. Ekyo kulicha kubagwa mutwe. Singa bagana Kazimba okugenda. Mukazi we bamujjanjabira German. Naye n'atagenda yo n'afiira wa. Tusina amazina mu ddiiro lyange muka Kazimba afudde. Ye bamujjanjabira German. Naye mu muganda okugenda afiire wano. Nzina amazina mu ddiiro lyange. Casualties of misguided approaches to politics.
Misguided.
Yes, they are misguided. If you want to popularize parliament, there are many ways. Control the interest rates in banks. Return the order government to restock banks. Where do you find a government that moves with the bags of money? Which one comes first? This money you are dishing out to people would come through banks. You should evaluate it first. Viable projects. Which comes first? Is it a horse or a chigari?
It is the horse that rides.
Yes.
The car.
I'm happy. Your Excellency President Biden, I'm dancing here because tighten the American ambassador. Try after 10 years. Go to China. Why don't you go to China? Honorable Madam Speaker, if the Chinese, if the Americans have rejected you, why don't you travel to China? Why don't you have houses in China? Why do you feel the American travel ban? Because you have houses there, you mingle. This is the mother where homosexuality is recognized. And I told you, homosexuality is part of Uganda. The first prominent home was Muyanga. Muyanga was a homo by practice. He wanted to deny the British a succession. Muyanga was a homo. One of the reasons, why do we call it Buffy? Buffy. Because the Baganda coined they say, hey, nafa basajja Buffy. By Muyanga. He's an imposition from Europe. Was Muyanga European? Mubasibe, tubafuluma wano. Ayi Mukama otenderezebwe, Katonda weggulu. Ayi Mukama otenderezebwe, nga. Abaganda bagajotega amagwa gye bakuba bakugoba gyoyitira. Once you plant a landmines in modern times, when the battle becomes fierce, is where you go through. Anybody who motored it, who discussed it, who contributed to it, must not be allowed to go to Europe and America.
But I think that is good. When they lose hope in hospitals in America,
yes, they will develop here.
Hospitals.
Biden, the American ambassador should tighten the grip. I told him
access at a low cost even in Africa. Number 3, we should also ask, can sex be obtained from a woman only? From the argument that sex is primarily not for producing children, we lose the argument that sexual satisfaction can only be obtained from a woman. This reminds me of my village background. We used to argue as children what things would have related to one's acceptance by society, while another one is rejected. The difference between a reed and a sugarcane, the two are almost similar, but one is edible, the other is not. The eggplant, Centura and Tengo, one is edible and the other is not. Baganda say that hunger cannot force a person to eat a dog. Dogs are not eaten in Uganda. They are animals which are eaten as meat, while others cannot. Let's apply this to the argument of overseers. They believe that a woman or a man or a woman can be used for sexual satisfaction depending on circumstances, intentions, and the consent of the two people. It also reminds me of how society develops concepts to avoid misbehavior. For instance, we grew up knowing that going through a window can make someone a notorious thief when he grows up. The same applied to eating in the dark. Parents warn the children against this practice as it would lead to one becoming a thief. Luzira prison and other prisons are given intimidating names to condition society against misbehavior. Luzira comes from the word okuzira, meaning denying yourself something important, which can be food or sex. It also goes like Luzira nduru, meaning a place where noise is prohibited, and even if you make an alarm, no one can respond. Therefore, by naming a prison Luzira sends a signal that once you commit an offense and you are taken to Luzira, you shouldn't expect help from outside because your alarm will not be heard. But also, you must not expect privileges like sex. The same applies to places of detention like Nalufenya or Kitalia. which means a place where you will lose weight or where you will be denied sex. Chitalia or obutalia is also related to sex. In fact, people in my village where they believe that imprisonment is intended to deny someone sex. There is also a saying that prisons warders warn prisoners at arrival to leave their testicles at the gate. Makende yako wacha hapa. And there is a saying, bogende buliambwa obuliambwa, meaning when you visit a place where they eat dogs, you end up eating dogs also. That is how homosexuality comes in. Prisoners who are strong can easily force their weak counterparts into acts of homosexuality. Homosexuality is also comes a result of communities who don't want to procreate with others for not wanting to intermarry. For instance, the Arabs who were deployed to serve as mercenaries in Uganda in the 1840s, the Arabs did not want to leave their offspring in Uganda and therefore could not have sex with indigenous women. Furthermore, homosexuality happens in societies where women are heavily protected from sexual relationships. In such societies, virginity is seriously enforced until marriage, but a woman knows that she will be rebuked for losing their virginity. She may resort to lesbianism. At times, such girls are forced into what they call protection of the family glory, where it will be shameful after the husband finds out that the girl is not a virgin. More so, there are severe punishments for bringing shame to the family. To avoid this, the girl can decide to serve her husband with rear chamber instead of the front chamber, or opt for lesbianism. In Europe and America, rates of divorce and the costs associated are very high. This has also forced men to abandon women because women target rich and prominent personalities for marriage, but pursuing financial gains after divorce. And since gays in marriages are still stigmatized and victimized, divorce is done separately between the two parties for fear of embarrassment, which is not the case with normal marriage. But with recognition of gay marriage in some countries, this will soon not be a problem. Another important factor, which we who oppose homosexuality overlook, is that under a gay marriage arrangement, a woman plays the role of a woman, and a man plays the role of a man. As to how would such a family do get children, some of them get into double relationships and produce children. These include Bishop Robinson, who was legally married with a wife and children, but was also a woman in his gay marriage. They also adopt children from poor families in order to have children at home. This is insightful.
But I gave solutions how to fight. Once popularize the parliament, once you use cosmetics that are more making you beautiful, beyond the recognition of your husband, then you are dead. What is the purpose for? If you want to popularize the parliament, use what is affecting the population. And me, I pity them. Many of them did not do international relations. For us, we know. Why is it that Uganda alone in the East African Federation is coming with this law? Why don't we move together? Any Ugandan who will go to another country will be perceived to be a homo. No. We are not homos. Read my proposals, even without a law.
Okay. The proper way to deal with homosexuality in Uganda. Having laid bare the above facts about homosexuality and the motivation behind those opposing it, I now propose that one must recognize and understand the following. 1. Ugandans live in a global village and nobody can become an island or close off the neighbors. What is happening is that the European politicians are responding to the needs of their societies. They cannot rig elections to come to office or buy votes as it happens in African countries. They make reforms to popularize their political parties in order to get votes. Remember that politics is not like religion, which follow dogma and operate on fixed positions. Number 2, no country can operate in isolation. If any country introduces tough laws on gays, they will relocate to another country where they are accepted. In this case, tourism in the country with the tough laws will be affected and the inflow of funding will adversely go down. Which country can afford this self-isolation? In such a situation, we need to plan a coexistence strategy. This is why Sheikh Mubaje, whose religion does not recognize Jesus as the Son of God, joins the Interreligious Council dominated by Christians. This is the tolerance that we need as a country. President Museveni came up with a middle line on this matter. He said, gays will not be allowed to display themselves in the form of rallies and parades. This is the best solution instead of open confrontation and death penalties. Furthermore, Parliament was informed that there was no need for a new law. To prove this, we would have court cases against gays which courts of law have failed to handle due to absence of a law. This confirms that the existing law is adequate to handle the matter of overseers. Another strategy should be to subject the boys in schools, which are one of the breeding areas for this vice, to a treatment similar to pregnancy checks, which are usually applied to girls. We only need trained medical practitioners who can check boys if they engage in homosexuality. Thereafter, we can introduce counseling services in schools targeting those who denounce homosexuality. This is my last. We should also carry out a permanent campaign strategy to teach young people that homosexuality is bad and sensitize them on the health hazards or consequences of engaging in homosexuality. There is a Chiganda proverb, "Echinakulya ogoba chisembera," which means that an animal determined to maul you will keep coming every time you chase it away. Another one says, "Echaze mabere no mugumba agamera," meaning that there are things you cannot avoid in life. Even a barren woman has breasts, yet she cannot bear children. In times of despair or confusion, a Muganda consults himself with certain statements and see a later omuntu yajirwa, meaning that some rubbish, bad cultural practices in society are blown by wind, ending up in places where they are not needed. Completed at 4:30 p.m. this Easter Sunday, 9th April 2023, at my home at his home in Zana. But then I think your write-up is really informative.
May I sit down and I analyze? Because I'm a mass communicator, I'm a change agent.
You need Mr. Museveni to read this, because when Mr. Museveni was making an argument of whether homosexuality is by nature or nurture, you needed such.
No, you see, homosexuals in Europe, they have sex change. Somebody claims, I'm a woman detected in a man's body. All my genes, I'm a woman. That's why in Europe they have sex change. So does it apply to Africans? If we know that in Europe and America, they have the facilities of sex change. I read an incident where a headmistress went as Miss and came back as Mr. Sex change. So do we have this sex change in Africa? For us, Baganda, we categorize some women, Chakula Sajja. Such a man. I told you that what Matimba utters and her type of women is not appreciated by my old mother. They grew up in the Omusajja Wakugamba Jehova Dayo. They carried out a research here where women were asked, is it good for money to butter you? The Masaka women said yes. If a man does not butter you, it means that she does not takwagala takububira. What about me was never buttered any of my wives? Sibagala?
You have never?
Never. Me I cannot butter my wife. Because I lose the point. Even if I'm provoked, people will know that because of this man's anger, he did it. Even somebody comes up to
unless they tell me, I don't think I've never done it. I should ask them.
Anti-national propaganda. If you want to malign somebody, use his image. The people cannot, even if I'm arrested stealing money, the people will say Mirundi does not steal. But if somebody claims, ayakubi omuntu falsehood atoba akubaneba muwanga mu studio kakati somebody to malign you, to mudslinging you, must pray within your known image. Kakati zolo kuba manyi They cannot win a battle. Even if no person would like to see it, even if I find my wife sleeping in bed with another man, I just go back where I came, and then you go with your man you love more than me. I cannot slap you.
Why you go?
No.
Why you go?
Agenda bugenzi.
Agenda.
Ata
abamujjeko ki?
Agenda.
Nawo osaze ogenda nawe leka ba.
Sinza kulwana naye. No. You go. The verdict is clear. Ngabwe ngamba bana aba DNA. To you DNA people, you have made a very big mistake. DNA to commercialize it. DNA would be a security service where somebody can take my children, alleging that they are suffering from malaria, and then I get their blood and take it to DNA in a security manner. But DNA becomes up to become a commercial agent. They will kill you. What do you know? Because we know you are going to be killed. Look at this misusing these agents. Who are you? Somebody will pick a pang and kill his wife over these issues. For us, Baganda, we have we have a mechanism. I cannot embarrass my wife that she had children outside the marriage. What do? Even if I know, I keep it in my dam, my will. Or you see bana bangi. Or I reflect it in the distribution of wealth. I told you, many Baganda believed that Jolly Joy Chiwanuka was the son of Gondi, Onomusajja Omugaga Umukampala. Kurubia. But when Kurubia died, he left Chiwanuka for Jolly Joy. And this is when Baganda realized that Jolly Joy was not part of the family. Tell him to Wanuka. Yamulekere ente mukubugaga bonna. Yes. Muganda you cannot expose your wife. Nti yayendako ng'agenze ne Mugundi. Yayenda enamugongo nayende womusawo. Look at a newspaper.
Musawo Muganda.
A newspaper.
What
image are you giving this family if you are operating as on journalism principles of objectivity, fairness? In journalism, we have a porter's box. A porter, a man called the porter, developed a guiding principle, mechanism. If I'm writing about a story, then I think about how will society take it? I'm writing into my society. How will the person I'm writing about to take it? But it's the book of the man says, Mirundi, they have summoned his mother to test him into He's unforgivable. Journalists must be professionals. No kuba mukozi nga atagala. Twekisira kamonita kati mukyabikuba kana kategule. Genda y'omutwe bagutegule. Nadusanja. Some of these lawyers did not do law. They did raw materials. Some lawyers did not do law. They did raw materials. I'm telling you. Some lawyers did not do law. They did raw materials.
Tamale Mirundi. Again, you did not do law.
I'm a lawyer. Not you are not a lawyer. You did raw materials. You did not do law. Some of the lawyers did raw materials. They are not lawyers. Raw materials.